Hey everyone, this is Ricky with Spoiler Force Podcast, courtesy of Popluck Podcast. You can find more episodes of Spoiler Force Podcast on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, YouTube, or on Facebook at facebook.com/popluckpodcast.
What's good, what's good? This is DC Reacts. You're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Let's bump this shit.
It's an LP beat.
Alright, so this is episode 29 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky and thank you for tuning in. Tonight is actually a big night for this episode, for my podcast overall. I've been waiting for about a month and a half or so. I've been contacting my guest here, and surprisingly we've been able to work things out before the holiday, which was something I wasn't expecting, but I'm very grateful for this opportunity as well. You may know him. He's been doing reviews for Hmong Hip-Hop. He's interviewed the likes of Starz Vue, T-Bone, Vicious Swagger, Diverzity, which was actually one of my favorite interviews. So let's introduce my guest here as well. This is DC Reacts, or should I just say DC to keep it short?
What's good, Ricky? Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it big time, for sure.
Yeah, man, because, all week I've been just going through your videos and stuff, and surprisingly, man, like, every time I go on your YouTube page, your numbers of subscribers keep going up little by little, and it's very impressive to see that your work is paying off. And you're hella grinding out there, too, with the video at least once or twice a day. That's crazy good.
Man, it's a grind for sure, man. It's a grind for sure, so I'm basically just basing it off just keep dropping videos, and someone's gonna like it, you know what I'm saying? So that's just what I'm kind of basing my theory off of. If they don't like it, it's okay too, I'm trying. So
I think it's a great thing that you've done, because not a lot of people get to see these artists in a different spotlight. A lot of us just think or just see these artists as what we see in the videos, and a lot of it is just mostly assumption of what we think. And it does play a part too with what they represent as an artist, but what you've done with these interviews and just reviewing their videos and stuff, it's given a lot of people more like closeness to these artists, especially for me. Like I've said, your Diverzity interview, that one really like opened my eyes to the artists that you were talking with. And a lot of people joke on Diverzity and the comments and stuff, but I was very surprised that as you were interviewing him, he wasn't really bothered by it anymore, and he kind of just learn to ignore the comments. So I thought that was a very unique thing that you've brought to the table too, as a Hmong content creator.
Definitely, that's part of my goals. One of my goals too, with this channel is just to shine light on areas that not a lot of people pay a lot of attention to. Right off the bat, they're going to be already judging, trash or not. So I really want to just shine light on the hard work and what's behind the music. So this is an opportunity to give me a chance to do that.
Yeah. So how does it feel to be on the other end now? Now that you're being the interviewer or interviewee, how does that feel?
Totally different. I'm nervous. Like this is the first time too, so a little nervous, a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But it's fun.
Yeah, and I see that you've been reaching out to a lot of Midwest rappers too. I think the most recent one was with Jon Snow. Is that correct?
Yeah. Actually, the most recent one is Tone.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, the young kid from, was it Wisconsin or Minnesota?
Wisconsin. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. I listened to that one recently. That one was pretty unique.
Yeah, he was pretty faded, and then not just that, I didn't even have a mic plugged in, so like my audio kept cutting in and out. And so after when I was editing it, I was like, damn, man, I messed up. But I didn't want to call him again and do it again, you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's just like some some little technical errors that we all have to go through. But
right.
Yeah, but I understand that completely as well, because my stuff's acting up right now as we speak, which is why I'm kind of glad that I'm not really like live yet. Let's just get started here, man, because again, I'm gonna put you in the spot where you're the interviewee now, and I don't really want to make it too much like an interview, man, because like I've said, this is just a casual conversation. I want people to see you in the same light that you want to have the other artists that you talk to. So I'm going to start off with some general questions here that you might be familiar with. So what's inspired you to actually just do hip hop reviews and just interviews with all these artists?
Well, just go all the way back. I used to try to rap myself, so it was hard. It was hard to get out there. It was hard to get people to listen to you because it's like I said, you throw your stuff out there and it's trash right off the back. So it's just like I kind of gave up because of that, So just going through rap and hip hop, I knew that it was something I always wanted. Like when I was growing up, when I was doing my thing, I always felt like there's nobody out there like helping work push our thing. So I was just like, let me just give it a try. Let me shine some light. Let me help out a little bit with the Hmong community. Since I'm gonna be helping out in the Hmong community, I'll just do something that I really enjoy, which is Hmong rap, Hmong hip-hop. So kind of just put two and two together, and it's been working a little bit. So and then I also walk DJ Ghost. He's a Tokidua.
Okay.
That does the reactions on like underground rap, So I was like, that's a really good idea to really expose our underground rappers and stuff that don't really get seen.
That's a great start for what you plan to do with your channel and content. Yeah, because a lot of Hmong musicians these days, the game has changed a lot in these past like 5 to 6 years, and especially with I was never really exposed to the West Coast Hmong rappers myself until like recently, like the past year or so. Especially with what you've been doing with these artists and their music and reviewing what they've been doing. It's for me, it's a huge eye opener. Seeing that there's other Hmong artists out there still doing their style of music versus like the Midwest over where I'm at, or like in Minnesota. It's different, and it's to see that there's more artists than we thought there was out there that's still trying to push out their music and their content.
Oh man, totally, dude. There's new artists like every few months. There's a new person coming out, and we even get by without even knowing that somebody is out there trying to put their stuff out. It's like that's how big this community really is. Like it was an eye opener for me myself. Like I didn't even know how many artists there were out there until I started doing this channel, and I started researching, started asking around. So. Yeah, it's pretty big, man. The hip-hop, Hmong hip-hop and pop, actually, the Hmong niche, man, it's pretty big.
And you mentioned that you were trying to pursue music yourself. Is that something you think you're going to ever try to dabble with again, or is that done? Is that part of your life done?
Yeah, that's done. Like, when I was trying it was just because that's how much I love music, you know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up listening just to music. Music was like my escape. So, I grew up, just growing up, in where I'm from, like, you always try to keep yourself away from trouble and everything. So, you turn to things, and music is just one of those things that I was that guy that always had a diss man, you know what I mean? I was a diss man. I always had, like, some kind of music with me all the time. So, when I tried to make my own music, it just wasn't popping. And I was, fortunate enough to figure something out that I still enjoy doing at this age where I'm already 34 now, but I still enjoy, doing it. So,
yeah, what you're doing is great, like I've said. And with, I guess with the reviews that you've been doing with a lot of the hip hop and stuff, I've noticed that a lot of it's more like positive reviews that you've been doing, and like you like to point out like their metaphors or creativity. Have you ever considered like also doing like constructive criticism at all, or like critiquing someone's art if it wasn't, for example, like great at all?
Yeah, that's good. That's a really good question or point that you brought up too right there, because the ones that's really really close to me and know my plan, like they know what I'm doing, and only they would really know this. But you're the first one to actually ask me this, so you're gonna get it first here on a spoiler report. Yeah, I want to start off straight up, positivity, no matter what, So, at first it was just like fun and games to see how it goes, and then I was more like, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to positivity, and later on when it goes bigger, I'll really give more constructive criticism. But as far as now, I'm just looking for positivity to show where what we discussed earlier about, like, the darker areas where nobody knows about. But yeah, definitely later on when it grows bigger and the audience is more broad and big, and when I get into more of a pop music and Hmong love songs as well, 'cause I got a lot of songs about Hmong love songs as well too, So I'm just holding back for now because I just really want to push out the positivity and, you know, make it a movement.
Now, have you and you said you were considering like other genres of music like pop and I guess the Hmong R&B too as well?
Yeah, definitely. I'm slowly starting to dabble into it a little bit. Like right now, I got plans to do to react to Kalia Universe and you know, slowly get into pop and everything too. Love music.
Have you considered doing like I guess besides just Hmong artists, have you considered like reacting to like I guess different Asian music as well, like the other, like for example like Cambodians or Lao music or something like that?
Totally, man, totally. You know, I got a lot of love for my Lao folks, Cambodian folks, all my Asian folks out there. But right now, it's just I really want to focus on Hmong people first, and then you know when I feel like where I can't grow anymore, then I will shift over and start doing Asian music.
All right, that's pretty good then. You still have a lot of ground to cover, especially with these Hmong artists coming up, which is a good thing because I love seeing this evolution of Hmong music, you know, and social media itself has been really exposing a lot of these up and coming artists who have real talent and that just never got their chance to show what they're made of, you know.
Definitely.
I know you mentioned that you wanted to have like other R&B artists as well, but overall, as an overall like Hmong musician, who is one of your favorites as of right now in the game?
Right now, I would really say because how hard they work, and when they drop music, it's just like good quality, and there's the lyrics are there and everything. Like I would really have to say like Sons of No Town right now and KT Killing Them. Those guys right there probably, as far as like music that's out right now, is probably on my top of my list right now. That's really sounding that, you know, the music really sounds good. You know what I mean?
Do you plan to interview them at all as well for your channel?
Oh, definitely, man. But you know, those guys are like super busy, so I know that the best interview is going to be when I fly out there and really tackle it. And then when I fly out there, I'm really going to hit up everybody that's out there, and hopefully, you know, I can get some interviews out of the other rappers out there too. I got a lot of love for everybody out there, like suing them, supporting them, like all of them, like they all doing their thing out there too, you know. So definitely want to come out there and holler at them too. But definitely want a live interview.
I guess for your channel itself, do you plan to upgrade your equipment as well? I mean, do you want to like I guess do you plan to use like cameras when you physically meet them in person, how you did with your Diverzity or with your T-Bone interview, like that, with like an actual like camera and like lights and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. Right now the equipment I have right now is just like mediocre, so it gets me by, you know what I mean? And I see it like a hobby, so I haven't even like fully invested into it yet. But I will have my camera here with me when I come out there. And as far as like upgrading my equipment, yeah, I'm looking to do that, but just not right now.
Yeah, that's understandable because like I'm trying to do that with my content too. You know, slowly build up what I'm trying to do, especially with it's always not so much of the software, but mostly hardware from my end. For me especially, I want to invest in better microphones and stuff like that too. That way I can get the best quality I can for my podcast and whatnot. Recently you went to it wasn't Sacramento, but it was the Stockton, right? New Year, how was that?
Oh, the Stockton New Year. Yeah, I was just over there. My daughter, she dances, Hmong dances, and do you know Cheyenne Lee, the little girl that sings in Hmong, hella adorable, dances in Hmong and all that?
Oh, I don't think I've ever heard of her.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, over here in the West Coast, like she's pretty popular too, and she's my niece. So they dance in the same school, and they were dancing at Stockton. So you know, we went out there and supported them dancing in the competition. It was cool. You know, it wasn't hella big or anything like that, but it was the experience, and just running into you know right?
Yeah, the comedian. Yeah, I've seen some of her stuff.
I ran into her and Fight Gang and them, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I never knew that they had a Hmong New Year in Stockton. Yeah, I never knew that. Seeing your post, that was like the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, it's actually because it's like I don't think it's that big, and for me, just like going to Sac New Year, it's not as organized as Sac New Year though, because Like I could have literally got in if I was like a bad dude and gangster. I could have straight up got in with a weapon easily. You know, it's like it wasn't really that organized where they just kind of just let me through.
Oh wow! Holy shit!
Yeah. So they didn't even check my bags or anything like that. So that was just from my, you know, I can't speak for everybody, but that's what happened when I went through. I just kind of just went right through, like, you know, so I just feel like it wasn't like hella organized, and it could have, maybe because it's not that big or whatever, but that's just how I feel. It was okay though, you know, it was a decent time there.
Yeah, it looked. I mean, from just the photos, it looked pretty well for a small organization like that. But like you said, it's pretty dangerous if they don't have security checking bags and just letting people walk through like that. That is pretty dangerous, especially in Stockton, where I know that's a pretty rough area to grow up in too.
Yeah, no, they did have security there, but it was just from my experience, me walking through there, it was just like it was just like the security kind of like, oh man, let's get this thing over with. That look on their face. Just go ahead and go through. Well, yeah, it looks like a diary bag, or it looks like a camera bag. Go ahead.
Oh wow.
And then, like you said, knowing to be Stockton, you know, not throwing shade on Stockton, but you know, it's always like a lot of gang activity out there.
Yeah, like I mean, that just I'm not saying that it's a bad area, but it's known for its, you know, the activity there. And like I don't know if you watch UFC or not, but I follow Nick and Nate Diaz, and I've been following their story too. So you kind of learn a little bit of where they're from, and then, you know, just through research and all that. I mean, it's not a bad area, but it is a rough area for people who grow up there. You know, you kind of have to. They're more tougher than most, I guess. I mean, they're not like the suburbs over here, you know, like in Detroit.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, UFC. I'm not a big fan, but I do like support Nate Diaz. Just knowing he's from Stockton, close by, and you know, I always support like the local, anybody that's local that's trying to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Stockton definitely at one point it was like it had the highest rate in crime, and the highest rate in murders and homicides. So it was pretty rough out there for a minute, but you know, things seem to be shaking. You know, getting more better and better.
I want to bring this back to the music scene as well. You know, now that you know, nothing wrong with tangents or anything, but it's the thing with, like you said, you've had some experience with music and you want to shine some light on these other artists as well. And obviously, there's going to be a lot of artists butting heads. And recently this year as well, there's been artists going back and forth, and there was some, as what you would call, you know, rap beef or hip hop beef or whatever it is. Now, I'm not too well knowledgeable in this as well, so you can correct me if I'm wrong at some point. But I know that there's certain rappers out there who represent a certain lifestyle when it comes to their music. It's completely understandable because that's where they're from, that's their culture, and then also there's, I guess you could say, studio gangster rappers who try to flex like that, but apparently they're not of that life. Now, when those two artists butt heads, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, like, you know, I mean, you've seen some of the stuff that's happened on Facebook. Some people who pretend to be something that they're not versus an artist who grows up in that lifestyle. What are your thoughts on that? Like with artists like that kind of butting heads with each other. Do you think that should just be something that's ignored, or is that more of a pride thing?
It depends, because it's like the beef lately. It been more like I've seen a few. Like I'm just gonna you know, just get down to the point. Like, you know, the Not Her and the David Yang beef. That was about money. You know what I'm saying? So that was about money, and then you know, I'm just gonna use that for example since we're on this topic. Like, I bet you if money wasn't involved and, you know, people got paid and this and that, I bet you anything, like, everything would have been cool, you know, nothing would have popped off, but because the money was involved and that had to happen, they started beefing over that shit. So, no, well, it wasn't beefing, but, you know, he was just getting called out, you know.
Right.
Nothing against David Yang, too. Like, I fucked with David Yang's music. Like, I have nothing against David Yang. I have nothing against Not Her. Just get out, you know, put it out there. And,
yeah. A lot of respect to these artists. I mean, they both grind very hard for what they do, and I respect their artistry. But I guess the point of my question was as well. I mean, we've seen stuff like this in the past where artists kind of just go at it with each other, whether it's money or, like I was saying earlier, I know money does play a big part, because recently this year too, there was artists that was complaining about not being paid, or they were getting short of their money and stuff like that, and they felt like they deserved more too. So I mean, a lot of that plays into, I guess, their content as an artist too, and like again, it's their worth, and I feel like with a lot of Hmong artists these days too, like that's a big part that's changing, I guess, with especially between venues and artists, and Hmong New Year's are huge events for any up and coming Hmong artists, because they get a lot of exposure that way. And if there's art, or if there's organizations or venues that's not willing to pay, or that doesn't want to pay, I completely understand where that's coming from. So what were your thoughts on that too? I mean, did you have any, I guess, any concerns or thoughts about that as well, between organizations or venues and artists conflicting with each other?
Yeah, the only first thing I can think about is in Hmong in general. I think the business part of things is pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not really organized to how it should be done. Just from what I've been seeing and what I hear and everything, is like, I think that Hmong folks, like, okay, we love each other, we support each other to a certain extent, but when it comes to like paying these artists, I just feel like they feel like they could get away with, with this Hmong, help us out. But, because they're not looking from the artist's point of view. The artists, they're putting in the work, they really want to contribute and help out and give back as much as possible, they can. But if they're traveling from far away and they're promised a certain amount of money, gas, hotels, whatever it is, time, bro. So if the promoters and stuff could just hold their end and just shoot them a little bit, they'll be happy and there'll be no drama. Like, that's just how I feel like. And yeah, of course it's not hella big. Of course the artists are not like Chris Brown or hella huge and shit where they demand it. But it's just like the principle of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I feel like a lot of this is due to lack of communication as well. I mean, sometimes promoters don't even contact the artist, or they try to change something up on the spot, and I think that's the really messed up part of being an artist, when they're trying to like undercut your money or change something on you on the spot, or sometimes purposely mess up your set so they can try not to pay you. I think that's that's a really dirty tactic of the game.
Right. That was definitely the case between Nas' case. I actually have an interview with him, but it's hard getting a hold of him. Like, he's off and on, so definitely look out for that too.
Now that you brought the names of the artists, I wasn't trying to name drop anyone, but you get my point. And but yeah, I mean, I don't want to say this like as if Yellow Diamond or the label was purposely doing this to Nah, but I felt like reading through the comments and hearing what his side of the story too, which was a lot on Facebook. I mean, he's made some solid points, especially with messing with someone's set. I don't think that's a fair thing. I've performed on stage before, as I tried to do my singing thing too, and I've had some venues try to screw up my sets too, and I completely understand where he's coming from with that. And that's that's just something no artist wants to go through that, because now they've got to face a crowd and try not to look stupid on stage too, and it's very like low key humiliating, because now you got to recover from that.
Yeah, totally agree with your point. But as far as like the story goes, like, we haven't heard Yellow Diamond's side yet. You feel me?
Yeah, and that's yeah. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. That's why I wasn't trying to like pinpoint the label or anything, but until they've said something, then that's how the story is right now.
Yeah, that's just how I am, dude. Like, when I talk about stuff, I just like to bring it out, like, just being transparent, because so people will be like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah, I mean, because yeah, no, I feel exactly the same, because it's a very sensitive subject. How you word things can be twisted so quickly, especially on the internet. And I know that I know you're a good dude, so I don't want to like make it seem like where you're pointing out or trying to call out people. I don't want that. No, that's not something I'm pushing for. It's just like it's a lot of technical and it's a lot of like political things in the music industry itself. and not just Hmong industry, but like even in mainstream media, and to the point where there's conspiracy theories and stuff like that, you know. And do you think that's something that's really happening in just overall music? Do you think there's like some sort of agenda being pushed around when it comes to music?
As far as like the music labels or like
Just like, yeah, I mean, like, you know, for example, like the whole Nipsey Hussle tragedy that happened. There was conspiracy saying that, you know, because he was pushing out and doing positive things in his community, like, you know, with the jobs and whatnot, and creating opportunities, that, you know, he could have been gunned down for that. But I don't know if that's true. Don't quote me on that. But, you know, like that kind of thing, you know, not just in Hmong community, but overall in music now. So that's what. So like, do you think there's like, I guess, agendas being pushed around like that with conspiracies in music and whatnot?
I honestly feel like it's just all based on opinions. As far as my opinion, it just, man, I would just say it's probably just theory. And I don't know, man. I don't want to say that I believe in it. I don't want to say that I don't either. Because some funny shit always do happen to these kind of artists that push positivity. And but at the same time, it's like, would people really be that? Would the government really do something stupid like that? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, dude. Like, honestly, my honest opinion is it's just all an opinion of however someone wants to see it. So yeah, that's just probably gonna be my answer.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it's very, you know, it's very, like, I guess you can say shifty, I guess, with these kind of topics too. And I mean, because the thing is, there's never really any like proof or solid proof. It's always, like you said, it's always theories and opinions, and then words get twisted, so nothing's ever really fully like confirmed. And that's what makes it kind of weird, because now you're on the line of, do I believe something or do I not believe it? And then what if it's true? Then kind of just, it's like a big rabbit hole. It just keeps going and going.
Yeah, just like Tupac, you know, everybody says, oh, he's alive, he's been hell long, we haven't seen no signs of it. So it's like, now you want to think about, okay, maybe he is dead. So like I said, it's just theory, man. It's just what people think, their mind. Everybody thinks differently, just like how everybody else says, you know, 10 minds are better than one, but there's too many ideas, and it's never gonna work too, you know what I'm saying? So when everybody has their own opinions, everybody has their own minds, there's always gonna be, you know, theories.
All right, so this next question I got for you here, because I don't want to dig too deep into conspiracies at all, because that's a huge rabbit hole, and that's a whole nother episode. But
have a bonfire with that.
but yeah, this next question I got for you, seeing that you've been interviewing like the likes of, you know, Starz Vue and T-Bone and Diverzity and Mo Thug and Poetic Tone, like they all have come from a culture of, I guess, gang violence, right? And you know, drugs or whatnot, like pushing that kind of stuff. Now, what's your thoughts on like rappers who kind of flex that kind of lifestyle versus like an artist, for example, like David Yang, who's kind of more like the Drake styled artist, where he just kind of like talks about himself and how good he is as an artist. What are your thoughts on like the differences of that?
Well, there's different niche, like hip hop and rap in general. There's a lot of different niches. If I'm saying, I don't know if I'm saying the right word, but there's different niches. Like there's gangster rap, there's fucking mumble rap, and then there's like, you know, the Drake style rap, the girl style, the heartbreak rap. You know what I mean? So everybody falls into their own category, and that's why I always say, like, I enjoy this dude's rap because he really represents this, and that's what he wants to portray. And then I turn around and talk about this other guy over here, and I'm like, all right, I like how he's doing it. It's because they chose the route, their own route. For instance, Starz, he's the type that he likes to be like the big boss type, flaunt it. You know, I ain't never had it, but I hustle my ass to get her type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I respect that. I respect what he's doing. I'm not saying that it's probably not a good role model for a little kid, but as far as like for us, for grown-ups, like, you see that he has put in his work and he's awesome. So I respect his hustle. And then David Yang over here, he's more of a He just talented, and he just does his singing, he does his rapping. So you respect him for that. You know, he knows how to grow, he knows how to brand, he knows how to capture audience, and he knows how to grow his fan base. So you definitely respect that as well. And I think that every single artist have their own niche that they fall into. But yeah, that's just what I really think about, like different how the Starz Vue represents that style, her lifestyle, or Poetic Tone represents that, you know, coming up struggle style, and it just, their style is all, it falls back onto like the West Coast vibe, the West Coast culture.
Yeah, no, that's a great response. Yeah, because like I understand there's always different categories and different genres in rap too, and hip hop. It's just like, you know, with our community as a Hmong community, as it's not as, I guess, not as big as other Asian or even like, you know, black communities or Hispanic communities. I think, you know, a lot of people get that kind of mixed up sometimes, where they're like, you know, it's where people's opinions of these different styles kind of conflict. And, you know, like you brought up a great point, like a lot of the West Coast rappers, their music's not geared for children, you know, and sometimes people forget that. So I think that really clears up like some of the thoughts that I was having, you know, between these different variety of artists, you know. And like you said, David's a great example for like growing with his fan base and whatnot, and, you know, changing his style to fit his audience. And I think you've made some really solid points with that too.
Yeah, and you know, just to add, like, surprise, you know, he came out of nowhere. He's like, he has his own humble flow that he delivers, and anybody can listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like his thing, and he's also from the Midwest, and hella respect for that too. He has his own little thing going on, but just West Coast is being more of a gritty grind out here. That you know, the struggle come up lifestyle. It's just how I see it. You know? I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I can completely see where you're coming from with that. And I think, you know what it is too, it's like, again, with social media and all that stuff, like people don't really, with the internet access today, it's more, I guess, it's more shallow now. People don't really understand that lifestyle. They see it through the screen, but then like at the same time, you're kind of not on the same playing field either. You don't really understand where these artists are coming from when you just see their music all the time on your phone and whatnot. So, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you brought up a great point with that too. Like, that what they're going for is something that only they can relate to, you know, and they're just grabbing an audience that relates with them too.
Right. That's what Starz mentioned in the interview. You know, I asked him, I said, "What's your style? Like, what's your style of rap?" He said, "You know, I don't really care if people don't understand what I'm saying. I understand what I'm saying." So that I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
So I was like, "Okay, shit." So he's like I said, he's just making music that he knows and he grew up with. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. If you fuck with him, then you fuck with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what he's looking for.
That's where I respect a lot of these West Coast rappers too, because like they don't really try to fall under the whole, like, I guess, what's mainstream, you know, and they still stick to what they're molded by in their environment.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, so to continue on as well now, and speaking on this as well, you kind of like already touched up a little bit of this, but so what is your take on like the messages that they're sending out as an artist? I know that, you know, you touched up on this already a little bit with the genres and whatnot. So since you listen to all of their music, do you feel like sending out, I guess, a more positive message, or like a more, I guess, not so much negative, but like a more gritty message is something that these artists should go for as well, besides like what they're actually like trying to represent to?
I think it just comes down to, it's just music. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I see it. When someone makes music, they just want to make something that you could just bump and you could just vibe with it. It's not like they're trying to promote you should be selling drugs, or you should be doing this and whatnot. But it's more of a just man, you could bump this when you kicking it. You know, barbecuing. This would sound good when you barbecuing. You know. Listen to a little bit of my life on, you know, while you barbecuing. Listen about all how much I went through while you cooking with your boys and drinking and having fun. Like, listen to me, like, listen to my story. So that's just the vibe I get. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get like when people drop music, I don't see like they're trying to promote messages or whatnot. They just want to share their life, what they went through on a beat. You feel me? So I don't really see it as they're promoting anything. I just see it that they just want to show what they're about and how they grew up, and it's just a way to express them and to reach out to other people.
Man, you're killing it with these answers. You see, that's amazing. That's a good answer.
I was just trying to be as blunt and as honest as I can, because you're catching me off guard with all these good ass questions.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good that you're giving these honest answers, because like I've said, I'm only asking these questions because it's for everyone too. Sometimes people don't understand the world of hip hop and like the music struggle and stuff like that too. So it's a great eye opener for those who listen to this podcast too. And yeah, I think that was a good answer, man. Because again, for me personally, I love music too, but I wasn't too big on the hip hop end. But I'm learning as I go with the content that you create, and especially with all these Hmong artists coming up in hip hop, because that's where most of these Hmong artists are doing in the music genres, like hip hop, R&B, and pop music. So it's something to learn as we as a community grow together. It's something to learn. But yeah, that was fantastic answer, dude. Like that was really good.
It's just kind of like a top of the dome. Like you surprised me with all these dope ass questions and shit. Like,
yeah, I've got some questions here from like some buddies of mine too who were pretty excited that I was having you on the podcast. So this first question here is from my boy Sang Lore. Shout out to Sang. He asked me. He said, for DC, he said, should Hmong artists be obligated to write or perform Hmong music as much as their English music, or is that something that the artist decides?
Right now, like writing and making music and Hmong in general is just like, it's the trend now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's trending in the Hmong hip-hop because, trying to be more mainstream and trying to blow up that way is hard. It's hella competitive. And then, everybody starts falling back on, okay, we need to tend to our Hmong community to grow. So I think that's just all a part of it. It just falling back on the Hmong community and be like doing Hmong music, because Hmong people listen when you're rapping in Hmong, because they don't hear rapping in Hmong as much. As much. You feel me? So they're gonna listen. They're gonna be like, all right, what's this guy got? So it's a good way for them to just fall back on the Hmong community and really grow with them. And that's just my take on that. It's good. It's good that they're doing it. I think it's a good idea.
I feel like a lot of this inspiration comes from like K-pop too, and like because K-pop's taken the world by storm, and they do a mixture of their own language and English too. So I think that's something that as a Hmong artist you can kind of blend with your own music, and especially trying to go with the mainstream feel with their music and their songs too. Because Kalia Universe does that really well with her music, and like you mentioned, Surprise, he does that pretty well.
They're blending theirs, and like just the most recent ones, Southern Lockdown and KT Killing Them, they dropping those songs that sound like modern and throwing in Hmong lyrics in there. It's like, damn, that shit was fire.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect examples. The song Kana, that was a really good one. It did not feel like a Hmong song at all. It felt like genuine, like trap styled rap music. It was a completely different vibe.
Yeah, and how KT was singing his verse, like when he spoke in Hmong, it wasn't hella like Manga. It felt like it was a Hmong guy trying to speak Hmong, and we all related to that. You feel me?
Yes.
I relate to that because that's how I am.
Yes, I'm like that too.
Yeah, so that's why I fucking hella felt that shit. Like, whoa, this is dope, man. But yeah.
Yeah, and then my second question here is from my buddy Toy Yang. He asked, do you think Hmong rappers from different areas let me reword this. Do you think Hmong rappers from different areas rap differently today, and especially with social media being a big part of our lives? Do you think like different region? I believe you touched up on this already too, but do you believe like being from the West Coast or Midwest or even down south? Do you think those styles, especially in Hmong music itself, do you think that varies with how they represent their art?
Yeah, I definitely do. Like you mentioned, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier, where West Coast is more about that gritty grind, come up, you know, toe this, push that, you know, just to make it, you know, I remember when K Ballin and Ballin Records came out from the Midwest. Rare, when they came out, they was like chopping it on the mic, like boom, 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 just spitting fast. And then they held it down out there like that. And then K Ballin, they came out spitting hella fast, boom, 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 boom. And then I was like, damn. And you know, it was just like West Coast rappers, they didn't really do that style. So it kind of grew to where like Midwest was like fast, like they could spit fast, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like surprising, and the new era is coming out like with his mellow flow, and it's like he's reestablishing himself over there in the Midwest, and everybody's going slower, more you know, it's changing, it evolves, like it never stays the same. So I guess to answer your question is yeah, I think that every region has their own style, but it never stays the same.
Do you ever see like I guess it being like blended eventually at one point, especially with you know like how the SoundCloud rappers were doing it, how everyone was jumping on the mumble rap, like how the Migos was? Do you think there's ever going to be a time where like it's just going to be blended styles instead of like, you know, you're from this coast or you're from this coast and that's how the music is over there?
Yeah, they like Diverzity. He tried it. Like people are always going to be doing this stuff, trying different things. Like Diverzity, he tried it. He jumped on with K Ballin, right? Diverzity is not a fast rapper, but his lyrics are like more deep. But he's not a fast rapper. But K Ballin, his rapping is fast. So if you haven't heard it, they did a track a while back. But you know, I guess it just like what I'm trying to say is they're always gonna be trying different things. So I'm not sure if not even sure if I can try to pick up.
Yeah, I get it. You know, like they're just experimenting with each other's style of music or trying to put it together to make it work. In a way, it's kind of like just painting with different styles. If you can put it like in a image, you know, I can definitely see how collaborating with different artists like that, it helps the artist themselves too, you know, to kind of experiment with all these different artists with different styles, and then they can kind of just nitpick what they like and use it for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, was there like, I know that on one of your videos you said that the Sons of No Town, they reached out to you to be one of their music videos. How was that the one with the 18 Clans? Was that the music video?
Yeah. Before they shot that video, BX had hit me up. You know the guy with the jet Li tail?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, shout out to Sons of No Town, man. You know what I'm saying? They those guys that just keep it quiet and just drop some bombs on everybody once in a while. But straight up, dude, like he hit me up. He was just like, you know, we would love for you to cameo in our video. Come to the, you know, we'll fly you out. And like me and him was talking about flights back and forth for nonstop. You know what I'm saying? And up until the time when I was supposed to get my flight, like I just stepped back and just like, all right, look, I'm hell excited. I was very like, yeah, I'm gonna go. And then I didn't realize how much stuff I needed to get done here too, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, damn, man, I rushed it, you know what I'm saying? So I couldn't make it. I had so much shit to take care of that weekend as well, and it was already set, so I couldn't really back out of that. So, you know, I felt dumb for not making it because I already told him, like, yeah, I'll be there. But backed out. So, yeah, man, he was supposed to have me in, him and Tommy Boy was supposed to have me in that video right there.
Yeah, like Sons of No Town. I mean, like that. Honestly, I discovered them through your reviews, and I gotta say, like they really like at this end of this last quarter of the year, like they've really like stepped up the Hmong game, you know. And this year itself, 2019, a lot of Hmong artists really stepped up their games. You know, like this summer, Shang Li had his hit with the Jananing, his rap, and then Kalia had a big year this year too. And you know she's like releasing music like crazy too, and with David and his rap video, and yeah, like a lot of everyone's just like really stepping up their game, and it's really cool to see that, you know, each time someone steps up their game, there's another artist out there waiting to either challenge or to set the bar even higher.
Right, and everybody's trying to go out with a bang, you know, for the end of the year too.
Now, you said that you were planning to have interviews with Sons of No Town too, with Tommy Boy and all of them.
Yeah, definitely. When I fly out there, you know, I told him that you know, since I couldn't make it, when I get out there, definitely gonna make it happen. And like I said, man, I feel stupid. I feel stupid as fuck for, you know, flicking out the last minute. Damn, man, I'm still regret it to this day. But but that would have been big. Like for the channel, would have been big. Like they have a big fan base, you know. Like a lot of people love the music, and you know, just for them reaching out to me, you know, I was like more than mind blown, and more appreciative than ever. Like straight up, man. So, but definitely when I get out there, I'm gonna hit him up, and we're gonna get it done.
So besides Sons of No Town, was there any other artists that you'd like to work with? I know you mentioned like KT, but was there like any other artists that you can name for us that you're going to work with or that you want to work with?
I want to work with everybody, bro. Everybody that's willing to, you know, get in front of the camera or get on the Skype interview, holler at me. I'm down for everything. Like I want to help out as much as I can while I'm in this space. So, you artists, man, you artists out there right now, you listening, man, holler at me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool as dude. I'm down for whatever.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like that's how I kind of want to do my podcast too. Like not just with artists, but with just people in general. You know, anyone that's willing to work with me, then I'm all for it. Yeah, but like what you're doing though is it's fantastic, especially with these Hmong artists that are up and coming, and what you've done with like you know, especially with some artists that a lot of us don't know. I think there was one artist that you was it Shi that you reviewed his video? I think that was it, or that was forgot. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I get the right title here. I don't want to name the wrong artist. There was like one artist that you, or that one video that you reviewed that I had no idea who it was, but like, you know, it's really brought light to the Hmong community for me. Let me see here. Yeah, one of the artists was Shi, the guy who like did the shaman rap.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, and then I saw your video of his stuff, and I was like, whoa, like that was a whole new take of Hmong rap for me too.
Bro, let me tell you something, man. I didn't even know who that was or anything too. It just, the amount of requests I was getting for that song, bro. Like my inbox was just flooded with it. Like, dude, check this dude out. Check this. I'm like, okay, I'm getting too many of this, so I just scooted that song to the top. You know, like, okay, we got to do it. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying. And then right when I play that thing, I was just like, first it sounded kind of corny, it looked like cheesy, and then boom, we started talking, and I was just like, once you start rapping, telling your story, I was just like, holy shit. This is crazy. So that was a fire ass crazy one too, straight up.
You know, and shout out to all the artists that we've name dropped on this podcast. You know, again, okay. I want to make it clear, there's no animosity to these artists. These are just the topics that, you know, we are discussing about in our community that should be addressed, because I feel like a lot of it sometimes it gets thrown under the rug, and not a lot of it gets brought to light. And I think what, again, like I've been saying about your content, DC, is like, you know, you're bringing a lot of light to not just Hmong artists, but the community itself, and as us as an audience too, to see that we can support each other in a much bigger way, you know, instead of just always, I guess, just typing it out on comments and whatnot. Like we are this year, we are now, like, we are really supporting each other as a community, seeing everyone that has opportunities to grow. Like they're making moves.
Absolutely, 100%, bro. Agree. That's just my vision, man. The movement, support each other, love each other, just keep pushing forward. And you know, you don't want to support. You're not forced to. You know, you have your own opinion. You're for. You know, like somebody commented and said, "Man, if I don't like this music, I don't have to like it." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "Yeah, straight up." Like I always answer straight up. You know, you have your own opinion. Like I respect it, but there's no need to sit here and bash on your own brothers. Like some people do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And again, like you said, no one's obligated to support. But then, if you feel like you want to support, you should. I think that's how we grow, and that's how we understand each other as a community instead of always pointing out negative things. And looking past that, I think that we can grow as a nation of people. I think that for us, especially as Hmong people, like not a lot of people know us, and just recently, Jay Park acknowledged us, as fans of his music, and that was a big thing.
Right. Straight up, man.
Yeah, and do you have any future plans at all for your content besides the artists that you want to interview or meet? Like, can you share some things that you haven't shared yet with us?
My followers and some people that listen to me, they always talk about this on my live streams. That I really want to do a rap contest, and just get a beat from a Hmong producer, and then I already got somebody that's willing to contribute too. So that's dope. And then really organize a big rap contest and have the audio, choose who wins. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give it a cash prize. The only reason why I'm doing it is just to bring out all the talent. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that don't really want to put their stuff out there. This might help push them out and bring them out for us to listen. So that's one of the projects that I've been it's been in the back of my head. It's been in the works, and I've been talking to Diverzity about it. Diverzity actually reached out and wanted to be a part of that too. So that's one of my projects we might be doing here early 2020, and I think if I hit 10,000 subscribers, man, I'm gonna try to get my own little studio and start my own podcast like how you're doing it here. Just invite guests on and invite guests to the podcast and talk live right here, in the studio. So that's one of my future goals.
Man, I don't doubt that you will reach that, man. Like, I think you can, and with all the work that you've been doing, DC, dude, again, man, you are really grinding it out there for someone who's just started this year, and it's funny because I think around the same time, like, I started my podcast around the same time you started your content too, and I find it amazing that that you've gotten this far within a little over half a year, and you're getting a lot of exposure, which is so good already. And hopefully for 2020 that you succeed with your content and reach out to more artists out there, man.
Hey man, appreciate all the kind words and appreciate all the blessings, brother. Yeah, man, we'll see if we could pull it off or not, but we're trying though,
Yeah, no, man. That's what I love about the podcast community, man. It's nothing but support, man. It's just if you see someone with their content that's rising, man, just support it. It's not hard to subscribe to someone. I think Jon Snow said it. It's not hard to click that subscribe button, man. Just support each other.
Jon Snow said it don't cost you money to hit that button.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we wrap things up here, did you want to plug in anything or shout anyone out before we wrap up?
Just shout out to everybody out there that's trying to figure a way, you know what I'm saying? Like, just being Hmong and coming up, everybody knows the same struggle, man, you know what I'm saying? And rest in peace to all, all the losses we have taken this year, you know what I'm saying? So rest in peace to everyone that has left us. Tragedy, bro, tragedy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The shooting from last week. Not that you brought that up. I do want to just address this a little bit too. I'm gonna try to find the links that they have for their GoFundMe's. But for those who are listening to the podcast, each of the people who've passed last week from the shooting, they all have GoFundMe's, and I guess they all have like something you can contribute to. One of the singers that passed was I believe he's pronounced C. Lee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I think he has a GoFundMe too. I know that the what's her name, Lily Vang, she was taking charge of that. I saw a video on Facebook, so I'll try to find that link. So if anyone who's willing to contribute to the families that lost their loved ones, do that as well, and that was such a tragedy in our Hmong community too. And I think that kind of brought a lot of us closer together too as a community.
Yeah, man, I was definitely hurt by that. Like, I didn't even want to post anything about it. So like, I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm only posting because he's gone. Like, I was like, man, I was down, bro. Like, straight up, I didn't want to post shit until I seen his dealership. His car dealing school had posted pictures of him dealing and said that he was supposed to graduate this year, and that really like tore me apart. Like, man,
yeah,
just like you, just like me, just trying to make it out to the world and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that really hurt me right there.
And my condolences to the family too. I mean, like, I wasn't too familiar with Seeley's music, but to know that he was affecting this much people that knew him, my condolences to them. And same thing with, like you said, DC. I felt like if the people who knew him like that, then okay. But sometimes there's people out there who try to pander off of this stuff. And like last week I saw some lady like try to like post like photos of their house and shit. Like, I thought that was so fucking rude to do that.
Right.
Yeah, like, don't try to make this tragedy to give you some clout. Like, that's something that that's personal. And to whoever that was, if she ever listens to this, that's a big fuck you to you, because that's not cool, man.
Yeah, sure. Like, why you want to be run up on the house and trying to get some clout and fucking likes on your fucking Facebook shit? You know what I'm saying? Somebody asked me to make a video talking about this. I was just like, nah. I want to, as much as I want to, and nah, it's not the right move for me.
Exactly. It's something that like tragedies like this. It's something you just got to respect the family, man. Until they say something or approve of something, then okay. But I feel like a lot of people like some people were tagging like his girlfriend and whatnot and like posts and stuff. I thought that was kind of like, oh, that's a bit much. She's trying to console herself and her family, and you don't want to like blow up her newsfeed with that stuff.
Real, she's mourning, trying to recover, and her people ready to that.
The thing is, like, I don't want to like brush off this topic so easily. This is a very heavy topic, but
sure.
But due to just due to time too, and I know that you've got your family to take care of as well. Again, DC, thank you so much for doing this, man. This means a lot to me as a fan as well. And again, man, just keep pushing out your content, dude. Like, I see big things for you, dude.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. So excited. I was waiting all day for this.
Did you have any like I guess other social media accounts that people can reach out on you on besides just your YouTube channel?
Just Facebook. I'm on Facebook, DC Shallers, DCSHALUSS. This is my personal Facebook, and then I have the DC Rags on Facebook. Like, I'm not really too active on it. Add me as a friend, you know what I'm saying? See what I'm about, just real. I love to meet people, so and that, just YouTube, DC Rags on YouTube. Don't forget to follow my boy Ricky right here, his podcast, man. He be doing a whole bunch of interviews as well, you know what I'm saying? Talking about all types of stuff on here. So I would listen to this every time he drops one, I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow Ricky as well.
All right, thank you for that too. All right, so guys, this is pretty much the end of this episode. Again, DC, thank you so much, dude. Hope you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving, man. I know that the holiday was coming up, and that's why I'm like so grateful that you made time for this too.
All day, brother. Anytime, man.
All right, so that's pretty much it for Spoiler First Podcast. Continue to listen, and I also just want to shout out Hmong and LP for letting me use their instrumental for my podcast too. And also make sure if you live in the Michigan area, up in Boyne City, Michigan, make sure you guys check out Indochina Gardens. That's one of the best restaurants in Michigan. And make sure you guys check them out. And again, subscribe and follow DC. I'll have all his social media links in the description. Again, to the victims of Fresno, I'll have their GoFundMe stuff linked onto the podcast description too. So you guys, for those of you who want to contribute, you guys can find those links and donate to the families as well. Again, shout out to all the hip-hop artists, Hmong hip-hop artists that's out there. And thank you. And again, if anyone who wants to be on the podcast, email poplugpodcast@gmail.com. It doesn't matter if you're a hip-hop artist, a photographer, an MMA fighter, it don't matter. Just contact me and I'll make time for you guys. And again, DC, thank you so much. And have a good night, dude.
Always, brother. You too. Likewise.
All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Happy holidays, Reggie. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, dude. If you enjoyed this episode, follow my Instagram at RickyVang92, RICKYVANG92, and follow Popluck Podcast on Facebook.com/PopluckPodcast.